All righty, let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about some self-help here this morning. When I head back to my childhood home out west, and I'm in the area with my sister, and I stay with her at her house with her husband, my niece and nephew. They've got a guest bedroom that's kind of wired, West Coast wired. It's got it wired in, and there's sounds that come through. You can press a button, and you hear like a waterfall. You hear rainfall. I'm like, I can open the window and hear rain. I mean, here we are in suburban Seattle. I can hear rain all the time. But no, she says, this is, it kind of helps you sleep, and we got this, and it makes us feel better. And I said, well, it makes me feel like I got to use the restroom. Well, look, everybody's different. But you know what? Now in our society, we're getting bombarded with bad news. We try not to feature it every moment on this show, but you can't help it. It's a news program, news and information talk. Wildfires in California, hurricanes in the Caribbean, the president, a chance of nuclear confrontation. You get it, right? The American Psychological Association says there's been an increase in overall stress level for Americans. No kidding. But are there apps that you can have on your phone, for example, that will help you kind of relax, calm down, and manage your stress better? John Edmonson knows about this. He's a specialist in stress reduction, wellness specialist, and he's on the other end, once again, of our line. John, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me on your show today. Talk about relaxing and reducing stress.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Pushing a button, making it go away. To me, it's more organic than that, but maybe for different people, whatever works for you, and if it does, great. And for some people, being able to put the earbuds in and hear a soothing sound will start bringing that stress level down pretty quick, won't it?
Yeah, it really does. And the important thing to remember when we work with our patients with this is it's actually you. You're relaxing yourself and you're calming yourself, but you're using a phone to do it. And there's lots of great apps out there. I've really been amazed by that, and we've compiled a list at our office. And basically what it does is certain sounds or people doing guided relaxation, they call them meditations, or music can really help shift your mood. And the great thing is it doesn't have to be a trip to the spa for an hour, which we may not have in our day or couldn't afford, or it doesn't have to even be an hour sitting there meditating. It's just 2 or 3 minutes of listening to it. It helps us kind of reset ourselves and get back into a positive state of mind so we can either start or finish up our day.
John, what people have asked me before, and with broadcasting, and sometimes it's hard in this business over 30 years to not. You're always looking at trying to ingest new information, so you stay at the cutting edge, and you're looking at all this, and also trying to stay detached at the same time. People say, "Well, how do you relax and how do you check out?" And I said, "Well, I'll just take a few moments to think of nothing." Well, you can't think of nothing. I said, "No, you can think of nothing." In some ways, it's a little like that, isn't it?
I think it's very close to that. It's exactly what we need to do to the best of our ability. Is just for a little while, they say check out, but maybe it's actually checking in. You're getting back to yourself, to your mind, and letting all those intense thoughts kind of calm and settle. It's similar to the idea of these glitter jars that kids play with sometimes, or around Christmas time. It has all the glitter. You shake it up, and it's very cloudy. But if you let it sit there long enough, all that glitter is going to settle, and you can look inside the glass very clearly. Our mind, like you said, is very similar to that. That if we just take time to not think about things, then actually that glitter is going to settle, or our thoughts are going to settle.
Yeah, and
you're not able to.
Yeah, and even when you're trying to sleep, which is huge. We all know how important that is. And when you don't have it, you realize that even more. But, the competing thoughts and the idea of having that engaged brain late at night, you have to disengage. And it's hard because you have thoughts coming at you from different directions. That's the tough part. And people say, what do you focus on? Sometimes you've got to focus on nothing. And maybe the sounds can do that. Are there negatives to this? Are there times when people maybe plugging this in, if they're driving or whatever, they need to be engaged for safety reasons, and you don't want to completely disengage with an app like this? Do you have warnings and caveats about this, John?
I do, Dave. You hit all the great points. And so when we think about nighttime, so some people, they say they can't think of nothing. Sure, we understand that. So everyone's different. So if you're not able to blank out or just kind of soothe yourself, then that's when the app comes in. You focus on the sound, or you focus on the music, or just focus on inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth.
Yeah.
The sensation of it gives you something to distract yourself. Now, what you said is very powerful. You don't want to be relaxed all day long, and you don't want to be in this calm state, because the real world is sometimes we have to have high energy, we have to be intense, and we actually need our stress to get through certain situations. That's why we were given that gift, is all that adrenaline, all that energy, and those racing thoughts help us achieve, they help us move forward and survive. But it's the balancing that out. It's actually, can you turn it off? It's the same thing as exercise. Exercise is great, but if you try to run all day long, you burn yourself out, and you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah,
Same
you hurt
thing
yourself
with your
in the
mind.
process. That completely makes sense. Yeah, fight or flight is built into our DNA, and it's a great thing. It's part of the human survival mechanism. But when I look at a Facebook post about either the president or one of his opponents, and fight or flight adrenaline kicks in, that's a bad thing. I mean, there's nothing good that comes from that for many of us, and that's what the American Psychological Association is seeing around the country. It's this ramped up overall stress level. So the apps are good. Is there anything that's non-device oriented that you truly recommend to your clients? I mean, let's put a device away. Let's get as organic as it gets. What do you recommend that doesn't require plugging in?
I love that question, because it's so important, because we can get it just as addicted to these apps and our phones as anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so a great one is the word mindfulness, and to put it simply, is being present, aware, and in the moment, and paying attention. You can use it for anything. So for some people, it's going to be mindful speech. So when we see that news tweet about the president or someone else, and we want to go on a tangent, which could be instinctual, could be all true and right, is pay attention. Instead of talking just about what's wrong with that person or the world, begin to be mindful how you feel when you're doing that, and start to talk about what you want to see in the world, or the many things which are truly right about this wonderful world we live in, and focus on those. Your brain will literally begin to seek it out during the day with time. So you wake up, 3 things you're grateful for, change it every day. When you go to sleep, think about 3, my friend calls it the sweet moments, 3 things that you just loved. Smile on a baby, great cup of coffee, talking to your friends, a great radio show, anything, and just
Thank you.
Focus on that. That's true.
No,
so,
I love it. I love it because that and not only do you focus on that, but by the way you kept that list, don't let it spiral out of. Keep it to those that you can consistently rinse and repeat and change up a little bit, but don't try to make the list too crazy long, or that'll frustrate you and give you stress. I only came up with 37. Why not 38? Focus on 3. That's good, and make them 3 good ones. John Edmonson, where do we find you online?
Well, you can find me online at marulamedical.com. It's MARULA medical.com, and we actually put a blog out for a lot of recommendations on our website. So you can click on it and see some recommendations, what else you can do to reduce your stress.
Outstanding. John, thanks for being with us very much.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Non-stressful here, I hope, segment that helps you out. 1320 WILS.